Okay, so everybody, I told you I'd do a video this morning, so here it is. I got a lot of people asking me a lot of questions about different types of things, and a lot of questions about the Muslims being shipped into the United States through Mexico. All right, I'm not even going to touch base with that right now. There's a lot of stuff still going on. We still have a lot of people that are planning to investigate certain things and certain places and stuff, and I don't want to jeopardize blowing their cover. We're still waiting to hear back from a bunch of people. Any new information that I've received, I put it out there, and people are quick to jump and point the fingers and say they want more proof and they want videos and they want pictures. Okay, best thing I can tell you to do is get off Facebook, grab the keys to your car, camera, a gun just in case, a couple witnesses just in case, and go out there and do some snooping around for yourself. People in Texas, you should be down there calling your representatives and your senators and your congressmen. If you're not working, maybe you can go down and stand by the border. Okay, this would be a good thing for you guys to do. And there's a lot of activity in Oklahoma. You know, people get on the phones, call people, email your congressmen, your representatives, and everything else, and find out what's going on. I'm just one person. I live way up the hell up here in the New York and Pennsylvania border, so I'm nowhere near any of this is going on. We have enough problems here in New York with Cuomo and Islamberg being an hour and a half down the road. So we're dealing. New Yorkers are dealing with New Yorkers, and I've said this before. Oklahomans need to deal with Oklahoma. Texas, you need to deal with Texas. This isn't just going on in these states. This is going on nationwide and worldwide. They are clearing out Syria and they are dumping them everywhere else. There's an overflow of them in Europe, Australia, all parts of the globe. And unless the country is actually taking the steps to stop them from coming in, or they've banned them and they're getting rid of them, pretty much they're going everywhere. I'm getting inboxes from people from all over the country. Australia, Belgium, Bangladesh, Denmark, Puerto Rico, Switzerland, Iran. I mean, everywhere, all over Europe and Canada. You know, this is going on everywhere. It's just not the United States. Everybody's fed up with it. And, you know, these countries are taking them in and they're having all these problems. And this is what we're seeing, and this is what we're going to see here. All the stuff that you're seeing overseas is going to happen here eventually. If not, when the call of jihad is made, they're going to rise up. They're going to come out of woodwork anyhow, and we need to be prepared for that because our government isn't telling us anything. They're not protecting us. They've got the door wide open. This is an open door policy. And I found out from other Arab sites here in the United States that it only costs $21,000 American money for somebody to come over here to this country, and they will get them in here. And we know that there's no screening process on these people before they come in. So, you know, who knows who these people are? They could be good Christian people. These could be people that are really suffering over there and really are oppressed, and they really do need a place to go. But my look on it is this is where the United Nations comes in. This is another example how the United Nations does not work. The United Nations is supposed to be there as a world mediator, and whenever there's a war or there's tensions in a country or there's an issue like this, all the world's countries' leaders are supposed to get together, work together, and solve this problem. And we're not seeing that. If we were seeing that, there would be peaceful ways to resolve all this, and these people would be distributed throughout the world and different countries, mainly in the neighboring countries. We're not seeing that. And you got to ask yourself why we're not seeing that. Well, my opinion is that the reason we're not seeing that is because they don't want them there. They know all about them. They don't want all their drama. They don't want all the headaches. They sure the heck don't want them in their streets, stopping traffic, holding up people from getting to work and school so that they can pray in the middle of the street. This planet is huge. Do you really have to pray in the streets? Now, somebody made the comment, well, what if it was Christians out in the street? Well, let me tell you something. I'm a Christian, and my friends are Christian. These churches that I attend, these people are all Christian people. I just don't see them doing such an idiotic thing. All right, Christian people just don't do that. There's a lot of things that the Muslim people do that Christian people just do not do. And I want to say again, Islam is not a religion. Stop talking their language. Stop being politically correct. It is not illogical. And that's what it is. You know, it has nothing to do with religion. All right? They're not worshiping a god. They're worshiping a devil. The Quran is not a holy book. It's the devil's book. These people are seeds of Satan. And, you know, this is a holy war going on right now that it is Islam trying to take over the world. That's their agenda. It's in the Muslim playbook. I have a copy of the Muslim playbook where it talks about them and their instructions, step by step, of how they are supposed to go to foreign countries, and they're supposed to blend in throughout the community at the PTA meetings, and teachers and doctors and local governments, and you know community events, and then they blend into your soccer games and your everything you can think of, all the way into our government, and even at the highest Oval Office seat that we have. Now, in 2001, we were attacked by these Muslims, supposedly, and they took down 2 buildings and killed 3,000 Americans. That was just like 14 years ago. All right? And then what does America do to stop them? They don't. They turn around and vote for one and put him in office. Does anybody else find this crazy other than me? No, people are going to scream racist. They're going to say all these things, oh, I'm just racist. Well, let me tell you right now, I'm going to stop you dead in your tracks and let me know how the taste of your foot is in your mouth. Because I ain't racist, because I blame George Bush just as much as I blame Barack Obama. And same thing with Clinton, same thing with George Bush Sr. This has been going on forever. These guys are all tyrants. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. They're both the same snake with 2 different heads. Now, there's a lot of people saying, well, what can I do, you know, to protect myself and my family? I'm not prepared for this, and I don't know what to do. All right, we can't sit around and wait for the government to rescue us. They're not doing anything. Matter of fact, they're not even telling us. They're so shady, and everything that they are doing is shady. Same thing with the mainstream media. We can't trust these people. They have proven it over and over again throughout the years. All right, it's been going on. They're pushing the propaganda, and they're lying to us, and they're trying to brainwash us into a certain way of thinking. They're trying to desensitize us, and what they do is, when they do that, is they're preparing us for their next move, and that will be more acceptable to when they do it. That will just take it. All right. So people have been asking me what they should do, and I can only tell you what I've done. And by the way, Obama, you might have a pen and you're going to use it. I got magic markers, and I'm going to use them. All right. And I went out and I bought one of these things. I don't remember what they're called. So I'm kind of old school here. Got the United States backdrop, and I got a basic arch thing there from Walmart. Some magic markers. I got all kinds of magic markers here. And as soon as I get a board for this, I got a U.S. map and a world map, and we're going to put that on a flip side, on both sides of a board. So if I do another video, I want to show you some of the things on the map. Actually, on the map, I don't got no Screen-O-Matic. I'm not nothing fancy like that. I'm old school. So people have been asking me, well, what should I do and how should I prepare? And one of those things that I've done, and this is a long time ago. This is back when the government was threatening, Obama was threatening to shut down the government. Back in 2013, I believe it was, in October 1st. And I knew what would happen if they shut down the government. And it doesn't matter if they shut down the government, if there's a solar flare, there's an enemy attack, or they do come in the night, start kicking down doors for a gun grab, and declare martial law to disarm us all. Or it could be a nuclear war, a biological war, a chemical war, anything that would send this country in the total downward spiral as far as, you know, rioting, and everybody calls it shit hitting the fan. I don't like to swear, but, you know, should anything like that happen, and martial law is, declared, and the president executes all his executive orders and this authority, that he's allowed to do so. Sorry about my camera going in and out of focus here. It's a $20 Walmart webcam. I'm doing the best I can. But should any of those things happen, you got to ask yourself, what would I do? Am I prepared? And you got to stop and think for a second, because this is very possible. It could happen today. It might not happen for a couple months. It might not happen for a couple years. It might not happen in 20 years, but it's going to happen. Same thing with financial collapse. I've been telling people this for years, just like I've been telling everybody for years about this Muslims being brought into this country. It's been going on since January last year that I know of. And there are videos out there and evidence out there that supports this. And it's everywhere. And I've been putting it on my page for the last 2 weeks. It's everywhere. I don't even really need any more evidence. I don't need any videos or pictures. Everything that I've received is overwhelming. And I feel like I'm chasing Bigfoot or a UFO here, trying to catch these guys. And you know what? I don't got time for it. I'm just one person. There are 350 million Americans in this country. Now, if everybody would just do their part, and we probably would find out those pictures, get those pictures in those videos, and we'd find out a lot more about what's going on. But right now, nobody's saying anything. Nobody's doing anything, and I got to assume that they're not gonna. So we got to take steps and measures to protect ourselves and protect our family. And everything that I'm going to say here is just my opinion and just what I would do or what I think. And I want to make that clear right now, because I know all these dedicated preppers and all these 3%er groups and 3%er people and patriots, that they're definitely more experienced to this situation than I am. But this maybe is for some people that are beginners or new to this, or just are waking up and they aren't prepared at all. I don't want to throw a bunch of heavy stuff on them. I don't want to confuse them or anything like that. But really, people, we could have this happen at any time. It could happen today. And you got to ask yourself, are you prepared? You want to know, all right, let's just say, for instance, there was a solar flare, an EMP attack, or anything like that, financial collapse. Let's say there was a solar flare or an EMP attack. All right, we know that many countries have the capability of having an EMP attack, and it's my understanding that even North Korea has a satellite with an EMP bomb right above our heads, above the United States. Now, let's take, for instance, if they dropped an EMP bomb off that satellite 600 miles above the state of Nebraska, that bomb would wipe out our grid. All right. If there was an attack on our grid simultaneously throughout the country and it took out our power grid, we'd be really, really screwed. We'd be literally sent back to the dark ages, literally overnight. Now, I'll explain to you how that would happen, because now imagine, we got no power. So here's what will happen. First of all, you ain't going to have no power. So this is a good sign that there's something going on. If you come out and you turn on your TV and it's not working, you go to make a phone call to find out what's going on and that's not working, all right, and it's cold inside because your heater didn't come on, that's a good sign, all right. Nothing will work. This is a really good indicator that it has begun. And then everybody's going to be caught with their pants down, and they're going to be like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? All right, you got to prepare for this situation. Whether it happens or not, at least you're prepared, because it's more than likely going to happen at some point, even if it's just a solar flare. All right, this has been scientifically proven. Now imagine life without your TV, where am I? Facebook, cell phones, hot water, toilets. All right, just imagine those things alone. You wake up and none of that works. How are you going to survive? How are you going to function? What are you going to do? You got to have these answers, people, or you are in serious, big trouble. All right? Now, if something like that was to happen, my guess is that you have 4 hours. 4 hours to decide what you are going to do. Because in 4 hours, they're going to shut down the roads. So you got to decide in 4 hours whether you're going to stay where you're at or you're going to pack up whatever it is that you think that you're going to need to survive, take it with you and your family and get out and get somewhere remote into a secluded location, free from all the drama and chaos that's going to take place. And reason I say 4 hours is that that's what I've come to the conclusion from reading a bunch of different stuff, is that you have 4 hours. So in that 4 hours, if you don't have an evacuation plan to get out of your house and get into the woods, you're pretty much going to have to stay where you're at because they're not going to let you out. And this is mostly the average on big cities, you know, New York City, Boston, and Chicago, things like that. And then the smaller cities, you know, I'll say, for instance, Binghamton, Elmira, you know, things like that around here in New York State. Yeah, it'll take a little bit longer, and out in the country, more remote places, it may take a little longer. But if you stick with the 4 hours things, you should be safe. The other thing I want to bring up about the 4 is the 4 days. After 4 days of this, there will be complete chaos throughout the country. Total anarchy. Rioting, looting, murdering, and everything you could think of. Just total chaos in 4 days. Alright, 4 days is what you got. The reason I say this is because everything I've looked into, and that's the conclusion that I've came to. Because in 4 days, people are going to arm themselves to the teeth, and they will do whatever they got to do to feed and protect their children and their family and their property. That means if the guy across the street has got to feed his kid, he ain't got no food or water, he's going to go be looking for some. And if he comes over to my house looking for food or water, and I need it for my family and my, you know, and for myself, I'm going to do whatever is necessary to protect my food and water supply and my children and my family. And so's the guy across the street. You don't blame him. He's got a kid crying and looking to him like, Daddy, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, I tell you what he's going to do. He's going to go out and he's going to do whatever it takes to feed that kid. And if that means killing somebody else, he's going to do it. And if he's coming over here to get my food and water, I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect mine. If that means killing him, that's going to happen. It's just the reality of it, folks. People are going to die. Lots of people are going to die. Now, the people that aren't awake, the people that don't believe any of this is ever going to happen, the people that are in denial, the people who are so asleep and are just a bunch of dumb sheep that think that this is never going to happen, and they've done nothing to prepare, they are screwed. And the people that are so reliable and dependable on their government, they are screwed. They'll be the first ones running towards wherever the FEMA buses are loading up, the FEMA trains are loading it up, and people will be literally throwing their children to the front of the line, not even knowing what lies ahead of them. We know there's FEMA camps everywhere. We know there's FEMA coffins everywhere. And we know about the RFID chips. And we know about all this stuff. The 2.3 billion rounds, which turns out to be a lot. That number I've calculated here recently is a lot bigger than that. So, we know that they're ready. The DHS bought up all this stuff. They are ready. They are bunkered down. They're ready. We are not ready. Very few of us are even close to being ready. I'm not even ready. And I've been doing this for years. I'm nowhere close to being ready. I just don't have the money to get the things on my list that I would like to get. Now, again, I'm only going to share, this is my own personal list, my own personal opinion. You can take and think about it whatever way you want. You can call me a conspiracy kook. You can say that I'm paranoid, that I'm trying to install fear into people. That's not what I'm doing. I could really care less if anybody listens to me or not. As a matter of fact, while we're on, I want to tell you guys, if you're on my page and you're just going around trolling from post to post and making those stupid comments, just go. Leave. I don't care. I don't care. I'll take it right back down my page, back down to the original members that were there before all this happened. Alright? I don't care. I'm just trying to help you guys, and I'm trying to help you prepare. I don't have time, and I don't have the patience to sit there and entertain a bunch of trolls and a bunch of people that are just plain jealous because I'm the one that got the video out there. I don't care. That's not what it's all about. So stop, and stop with the Bible, the things fighting back across about the Bibles and racist stuff and trying to promote hate and all that stuff. I'm not doing any of that. I ain't anti-Semitic Jew. One of my good friends called me out and said, I can't be a part of this. I can't be a friend with you because you're anti-Semitic Jew. I'm not anti-Semitic Jew. I don't care less about the Jewish people. You know what I mean? I could care less about all that stuff. I'm talking about Muslims. I'm talking about an invasion. I'm talking about a corrupt government. I'm talking about tyranny at its best. All right? Our forefathers and the founding fathers and the framers of this Constitution all warned us about this, and that's why they had the Constitution. And that's why they had the Second Amendment. All right? And it's all been taken away from us. And you got to ask yourself, why is the government hell-bent on disarming us? Especially now, when we're being invaded. Especially when they're taking the good guns and giving them to the people that want to kill us. That doesn't make sense to me. All right? We're supposed to have a gun, like here now, Andrew Cuomo says that we can't have a gun that holds 8 bullets. Well, why not? Doesn't say that in the Second Amendment. It says shall not be infringed. All right, that means it shouldn't be tampered with, it shouldn't be altered, it shouldn't be modified, it shouldn't be anything. And the reason the Second Amendment was put in there wasn't so that we could go hunting, or that we could do clay pigeon shoots, or we could protect ourselves in case somebody come in and tried to rape us or murder us or steal from us. Yeah, those are all for that, but ultimately, and this is why they put it in the second spot, and they're behind freedom of speech, it's just in case that was ever taken away from us. Then the second one would be that our freedom to have guns, our right to bear guns, and that shall not be infringed. And we have a right to a well-regulated militia. But most states, if you even say the word militia, they'll throw you right in jail. All right? So why is it that they've already taken away all the amendments? We don't have the right to due process with the NDAA. We don't have the freedom of speech because we've got to be in a freedom of speech zone. My freedom of speech zone, the way I understand it through the Constitution, is from Canada to Mexico to Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. All right? Now, you don't even have to be a president or a governor to declare a free speech zone. You can just be somebody that works for the Secret Service, and they can declare it at any time. Now, that's not free speech. Now, we ain't got the Fourth Amendment right. We ain't got the Fifth Amendment right. We don't have the right to due process. We don't have the right to privacy. We don't have the right to have a warrant signed by a judge for them to come into your house. All right, they can legally, because of the Patriot Act and the Anti-Terrorist Bill, they can legally come into your house right now, take you and your kids and your family out of your house, put you on a plane, take you to Pakistan, and either have you shot in front of a firing squad or put into a dungeon somewhere and torture and rape you for the rest of your life. All without a warrant signed by a judge, all without a reason, all without going to have the right to attorney, all just plain tyranny is what's going on here. We don't have anything left but the Second Amendment. Don't let them take your guns. Right now is when we need them the most, because the enemy has got us outgunned. All right, they have automatic weapons, they have RPGs, they have everything. We got shotguns and rifles and some scary-looking rifles that are the same rifles, but just look different. And now they're buying up all the ammunition, so we can't have ammunition. And next around the corner is where they're going to be banning black powder and things like that, so we can't even make our own bullets. And it's coming. It's coming. You'll see another false flag this week. You'll see another gun shooting this week, and the news will be there ready to run it. They'll have their crisis actors in place and ready to push that propaganda and deception on all the people. And that's the government's little outlet, is all these news stations. That I tell you right now, people, I don't believe nothing. Not a thing that comes on the news. If they come on the news today and said, guess what, everybody, the sky is blue, I'm going to go outside and look and see for myself. And there's a good chance it won't be. I bet you it'll be raining. All right. Now, with that said, I know it's getting kind of long here. We're in the 24 minutes, so I'll try to make this video as quick as I can. All right. I just want to go over some of the things that I have. Here's a list that I have. And I've had this list in my desk forever, man. They're like, it's a little notes, you know, and a list that I made a long time ago. And I've kept it through all my OCD cleaning. And I just want to go through the list really quick, and then I'm going to put down on this board I'm going to write things down so you can write things down. Now, I'll give you a few seconds to get a pen and paper because if you don't have any clue what to do or what to buy, where to go or look for, and the reasons why, I'm not an expert. I'll say it again, but this is just what I got. All right, here's the things on my list in no specific order, and that's a generator, NBC suits. We'll come back to that later. A tent, two 12-volt batteries, power inverter, filtered respirator mask, a survival book, sleeping bags, storage containers, ham radio, personal hygiene stuff, glasses, medicine, things like that. We'll come back to that too. You know, a grill, bow and arrows. We're gonna go through this list here in a little bit. Night vision goggles, thermal vision goggles, and NIOSH N100 certified filter mask. All right, I don't know. I made a note here a long time ago. $30, $8, 99.7%. So that might be what these masks are. 99.7% reliable, and they might be $8 or $30. I don't know why I put that $30. So I think that's what that's for. And disposable Tyvek suit with the booties. Now they're only like $8, and you can get them at Agway, your local hardware store, just about anywhere. And you know, swimmer's goggles. That's another thing that'll work. Keep things out of your eyes. Water filters and granular activated. I wrote down carbon filter, reverse osmosis ion exchange. All right, here's some of the things I wrote down. Now, I have most of everything on this list. The things that I don't, that I wish I had, I really wish I had. The reason for it being is that I just can't afford them. Now, if you're one of those people that have lots of money and you can afford whatever you can get, maybe you're a millionaire, or maybe you're pretty well off, and maybe you can afford an underground bunker or buy one of these storage containers and have it buried. That would be the ideal thing to do, but if you're like me, you can't afford all that stuff, and you can't even afford all this stuff, and you got to make the best of what you can do with what you got or the money that you do have, and then, you know, it's just the way it is. It's the way the cookie crumbles, and it's the way it goes, and it's unfortunate. But there are people that can go out and afford to buy things. Now, before I touch base with this and I talk about the money thing and the bank accounts and credit cards, you know, that may not all that work. And I don't believe that we're going to be around. I believe this is going to happen. And I believe it's going to happen. This is just my personal opinion. I don't believe there's going to be another election. I think this thing is all going to fold long before that. There's not going to be another election. I would love to be able to tell you that that's not true. But that's just my opinion in my heart. I feel it. I know it. I just feel like I'm right about this one. There's not going to be another election. And if people say, well, why do you think that? I just think either between a revolution, World War III, or jihad being called and all these Muslims rise up, or whatever it is. I just don't know until it happens, just like everybody else. We're all waiting to find out. And we shouldn't have to wait to find out. Well, we should be able to trust our government. We shouldn't have to live in paranoia thinking our government's out to get us. And we shouldn't have to prepare for things like this. They should be protecting us. Our men and women need to be over here protecting us. Our borders. Our borders are wide open. You know, so this is really a critical time in history where we need to pay close attention to what our leaders are really up to. We have to pay close attention to the things that are going around us. Now, I want to make an example, and I was talking to a buddy of mine this morning about this thing, and I'm going to use myself as an example. About 3 weeks ago, I was up here off I-86 in Nichols, New York, me and my wife, and we were on our way out that way to play some golf. She was going to ride around with me. But, you know, she had to pee really bad, so we pull into the Nichols Danny Mini Mart, and so she gets out of the truck, goes in to pee. Well, first thing I do, because I don't text or on my phone while I drive, is as soon as she gets out of the truck, I put the truck in park, and I grab my phone, and I start going through my messages and text messages and flipping through Facebook and fantasy football and everything else. So I had my head down. And then she comes right back out, and she says, I can't go here. I can't get in. I go, what do you mean you can't get in? They got the bathroom locked? She says, no. there's a bunch of Muslims lined up to the bathroom. It's going to take forever to get there. And I said, what do you mean a bunch of Muslims? Yeah, there's a bunch of Muslims. And I said, I said, well, what kind of Muslims? Were they all men, fighting age? She says, no, they're older people. I said, well, older people like old people? Or old people like me? Because, you know, I'm 46. And she goes, well, no, old people like you and older people. I said, was there any kids or any younger people, kids, teenagers, adolescents, toddlers, or young men and women? She said, no, there were all older people, men and women. And I didn't think nothing of it. And you know what? I put my head back down on the phone, and then drove off one golfing. So it came to me, you know, seeing this, and as I'm driving around and I'm looking at people in society today, you drive down the road, even people walking down the street for their nightly walk, even people coming in and out of the stores or in the stores, even people driving. You look around, and these people got their heads buried in their phones. So it's very possible that they could be doing this under our noses because America has their faces buried in their phones or their iPads or laptops or tablets. Nobody's looking up. I mean, there could be a fleet of 3,000 UFOs above our head, and no one would even know because our face is down. And when they're not down, we're driving. And when we're driving, we're daydreaming about the Sunday's upcoming game. We're dreaming about what we're having for dinner tonight. You know, we're daydreaming about Disneyland. Our mind is everywhere but where it's supposed to be. Nobody is awake. Nobody's paying attention to what's going around on them because we become too comfortable. We become lazy. And you know what? We're all in for a rude awakening, and we're going to get caught with our pants down. So, now, with that in mind, and I want to make one other point before I start this list. And this is going to sound crazy, and people are going to probably attack me on this, but here's what you do. If you don't like it, and you feel like you're going to be one of those people that are going to attack me on this, or put in your 2 cents, you know, how I don't know anything, whatever, anything like that, here's what you do. You go up to my name, go down, and unfriend me. Leave. I don't care. This is for the people that want it, the people that want to hear it, the people that don't know what they're doing, people that have no clue. They have open ears and open minds, and they're willing to listen. I don't want people spending their time pointing their finger at me and saying I'm a fear monger and I'm installing fear and all this, and I'm paranoid and a tinfoil hat wearing. You know, I was going to make a tinfoil hat for this video, but I don't think I could have kept a straight face for it. All right, but maybe the next one. All right. If I have a next one. I don't know. I may just walk away from this at any time. I'm just that kind of person. You can ask anybody that knows me. I was involved with that Robert Leone thing where the Pennsylvania troopers did monkey stomping and beating the hell out of them. And I was overflowed with it. And people started ticking me off. You know what? Me and my administrators all sat right here. And we spent hours. And we deleted everybody. And I've deleted over 20,000 people in my life, and I don't think that I won't do it again if people start to get on my nerves. I'm trying to help. You don't want my help, I'm going to go back to my life. I'm going to go back to my life anyhow eventually. So with that in mind, I want to tell you also, get off my page. If you weren't there before this happened, please, and I mean this kind, and I mean this I want to say this politely as I can. I don't want to sound like a prick. Just go over to the new Michael Kittner's Wake Up page, because eventually when I get the time, I'm going to go through until I get sick of adding people one at a time to it. And I'm just going to probably either shut down the page or go through individually and remove everybody I don't really know that wasn't on the page before, haven't been on my page for all these years, and survived all this deleting. Now, I hate to keep bouncing back and forth, so just stay with me. On the thing with the money, I really truly believe financial collapse is what this is all about, and I believe that all the world's powers are behind it. I believe that they're all in on it. The whole UN thing, the whole thing with the Pope, the whole thing with the Tetrad Moon, the Blood Moon, it's all tied together. A new beginning, a new end. An end and a beginning and an end. No matter how you look at it. The Pope came over, they're talking about the UN. Next thing you know, Russia's on there, Putin's on there, Obama's on there. All these leaders are on there. Pretty much, if you're paying attention, they're saying we're starting a new world order. And We got to do something about climate change. French Foreign Minister John Kerry told us 500 days exactly to that date when the Pope came over for the UN that we got to deal with climate change. It's a severe threat, and we only have 500 days. He didn't say 499 days. He didn't say 501 days. He didn't say 5 years or 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. He didn't say 2 weeks. He said 500 days. Now, if you take the date he said that and you add it to the 500 days, guess what day it is? The week of the blood moon. And also when they got together for the UN and all the world's leaders. Then right after that is when all this stuff started in Syria, which I told people that this was going down years ago. I've still got the post. I'll prove that to you time and time again. I've been saying it for 2 years about Syria. We're going into Syria. We're going into Syria. Nobody believed me. Now here we are. And they say, well, how do you know that? Well, that's what the Bible says. The Bible says Damascus, Syria. It's going to happen there. Why are we having all these Syrian refugees going, not just in this country, but every country? It's because they're clearing out the way for the battleground for World War III. World War III has already started. It's been started. Just because there ain't nuclear bombs and jets flying above us shooting each other down and tanks rolling around everywhere shooting, this war is much different from any other war. And it's already started. We had, you know, those Malaysian planes going missing. There's a whole nother story behind that plane. Look it up. Don't take the media's word for it. What was on that plane? Who was on that plane? Where they worked? And also where the stuff that they got on the plane, where it came from, and then where this missing plane, the stuff that was on the plane, most likely ended up going. All right, this was a part of that. This thing, I don't believe, I don't know for sure that a chemical plant in China blowing up, and then China and Russia's been making backdoor deals. They're doing this New World Order, and what they do is they'll, just like our Second Amendment, they'll chip away at it a little bit at a time, and just like our Constitution, they'll chip away at it a little bit at a time. And just like Hitler said, you know, you take a little bit of their freedoms away, a little bit at a time. Eventually, they won't even know it's all completely gone. By then, it's too late. And it's the same thing with this New World Order, the same thing with this our Constitution, and the same thing what's happening right now with our Second Amendment. They're chipping away at it, and they take a little bit at a time so that people won't even realize it. This thing's going out of focus, so stay with me. And this is what's happening. They're starting the North American Union. That's why the doors are open, so they can mix us all together. And they're bringing in all these people from all over the world. We already got half China here, and half of Mexico here, and Japanese, and now they're bringing in the Muslims. And Central Americans are already here. Canadians are already here. Canadians, 80% of Canada lives within 100 miles of us. So for the 80% of the Canadians that live within 100 miles of us, they all could walk here within 3 days. Walk, not even a car. All right, so take that in mind. And so the stage is being set for World War III. It's already started, has been started. Just none of that other stuff has gone on yet with the jets, the planes, and the bombs. I don't know if it's going to go on. It'd be pretty stupid of them. It'd be pretty stupid of them to even have an EMP attack or a nuclear attack because they'd knock out the power. If they knock out the power, that's not going to help them any because they lose Facebook. They're keeping track of all of us with Facebook. The NSA is keeping track of everyone with through the phones, the TVs, the PlayStation, the Xboxes, our tablets, our webcams. Every keystroke that you do on your computer or on your phone is saved. Every voicemail, every conversation is stored in a database in Utah forever and ever, and it can hold forever and ever amounts of memory. This place has $80 billion facility you paid for without your knowledge. How's that sink in? Like we can afford that to spy on us. They're not spying on the enemy. They're not spying on the Muslims. They're spying on us. They're keeping track of us. Facebook ain't nothing but a CIA psychological profiling database where they know who's who. And believe me, they know who's who. And you can take and power down your battery on your phone and set it on your nightstand Even though it's powered off, they can hear you and activate your camera remotely and watch you. So at night, if you're turning off your phone, you're powering it off so you can sleep and have sex with your wife, they can hear you having sex with your wife. They can watch you having sex with your wife. So remember that. That's not a conspiracy theory. Look it up. All right? There's people that have shown how much they can do that. And, you know, this is what's happening with this World War III playing out. And we can say it's going to be all these different types of scenarios, but nobody really knows how this is all going to unfold, except for the key players. All the key players are getting into place. You have China and Russia, Iran, and North Korea are already siding up. Obama went over to South Korea last week and talked to South Korea so that they know once the show starts, South Korea and North Korea, they'll be fighting, and then we'll be over there all fighting over the Middle East. You know, Syria's sitting on a gold mine of natural gas, not oil, natural gas. Whoever controls that natural gas is going to be very rich because they're going to be able to keep Western Europe. They're going to be able to power Western Europe and make a ton of money and heat Western Europe with that natural gas. All they got to do is run the pipelines over there. I'm sure George Bush and Dick Cheney would like to finish their pipelines the rest of the way through the Middle East. And that's the thing. We keep going over there and wreaking havoc, and then they wonder why all these people hate us and they want to kill us. Because we go there and destroy their countries, we put in some patsy leader that of their likings, and then they abandon them. And, you know, the whole country's tore apart, you know. It's just a shame that there's evil powers at work here, and there are evil people running these countries. And it's just my belief that they're all in on it. Because truthfully, people, if you think about everything they're telling us about climate change and global warming, it's pretty much true. Everybody wants to point the finger at Al Gore and say he made all this stuff and just trying to make money. Well, I might be able to agree with you if it wasn't for the satellite pictures from the 1970s until now, where I mean the ice caps are all receding, and you just look at the satellite pictures. That's all I'm going to tell you. And then you also look at the temperature of the ocean and the carbon monoxide levels in the air. Carbon monoxide levels have gone from to skyrocketing. It's not good. And also the temperature of the ocean, you know, temperature of the ocean goes up 2 degrees. It disrupts the North American current, and it'll change the face of this earth forever. That's how much of a domino effect will happen if the ocean temperature raises 2 degrees, and it's already up to 1.6. So we only need 0.4 more degrees of the ocean to go up before we start seeing some really drastic changes. And the reason, number one reason for all that is the population. There is just too many people on this planet. There is way too many people on this planet. We are using up more of the Earth's natural resources quicker than we can replace them, like trees. All right, we're cutting down trees faster than we can plant them. So eventually, they'll run out. You know, so the trees give out 80% of the world's oxygen of trees and plants in South America. You know what? And it's being stripped. And the same thing with water. You know, you look around, and we're running out of water. Water is going to be the next goal before too long. So, you guys take a look at what's going on outside your window. Don't listen to the news. Don't listen to our government. Come on, people. God gave us a brain. Use it. Take things and draw your own conclusion. The reason I come to this conclusion is because it's obvious what's going on here. I mean, we are getting ready for something big, and I mean big. You just don't have the government buying up 2.3 billion rounds of ammo and, you know, millions worth of emergency water packets and medical supplies and MRAPs and assault weapons and put up FEMA camps and buy FEMA coffins and create a Department of Homeland Security, create a TSA, create all these arms of the federal government for not to do nothing. I mean, somebody may think, well, 2.3 billion rounds of ammo, maybe they just bought that up so we couldn't have them. Well, that is true, but that number now is higher than that. If you take the 2.3 billion rounds that they bought the one time, and then you add up all the rounds that they bought since then, I come to 300 billion rounds of ammo. Now let me give you a good picture of how much ammo that is. All right, not the 300 billion, but just the 2.3 billion. I did some math, and I looked it up on a blog site because somebody is asking somebody how much bullets was that. So if you take 2.3 billion rounds, where's my notes on this? All right, here it is. 2.3 billion rounds of ammo, and you put them in 5-gallon buckets. And a 5-gallon bucket holds approximately 5,038 shells. So, guess how many 5-gallon buckets of ammo that would be? 460 million 5-gallon buckets full of ammo. That's just at 2.3 billion. So I haven't even done the math of what it would be at 300 billion. I probably don't want to know. So anyhow, that's what I think's happening. Something's going on, something big. We just don't know how it's going to end. But I got to stop and think for a minute. If I was the government and I was evil and I was trying to fool a lot of people and I was trying to exterminate a lot of people and I was trying to do it as quietly and as peacefully as I could, well, one of the things they're going to want to do is disarm us so that we know that we don't stand a chance. And the other thing I got to think about is how would I do that? Because I'm not government. I don't want to kill the power because I need the power too. There's got to be a way to do it without the power. All right, so I've thrown around all these scenarios back and forth, and I don't see Americans troops disarming us. I think over half of our military would not follow those orders. But you know what happened over in Germany when Hitler's men didn't follow orders? They threw them on the pile with the Jews. You either do what I tell you or you die. So it'd be interesting to see how that would play out here. And what it keeps coming down to for me is like a biological or chemical weapon, or a virus of some sort. Because if you come out with a nuclear war, you're going to destroy crops, you're going to have an EMP blast, you're going to knock out power, and it's just a really bad idea of how to get rid of people or disarm people or to beat the other side. Now you got to remember, they got to go into this knowing that when they get this started and when they go forward with this, that they're going to want to be successful. They want to, it's as if you or I were going to do it, that you know that you're going to win this without a doubt, 100%. You want to make it an easily achievable task in order to do it. And it's just my personal opinion, but if I could do something to the American people to get those guns or to keep them from fighting back, I would do that. And how would I do that? Well, I'd have to do something in order to keep them in their house. We don't want people out running around to the woods and the streets with their guns and forming militias and groups that will fight back, because now we start losing casualties on our side. So we got to figure out how to keep them on their side. So what I would like, or what I would do if I was an evil, ruthless dictator leader and I wanted to get people, I would have either like a disease of some sort dispersed throughout the world, the country, so that people wouldn't go outside, or even a biological weapon where you would have to stay inside. You would have to wait for help. You're not going to be able to go out. If you go outside, you're dead. You'll be killed. You won't survive. But if you have an NBC suit, you can. You can go out and you can take your gun and you can go out and you'll probably run into more people that have NBC suits, and you'll be able to form groups. You'll be able to go help other people. You'll be able to go get supplies. You'll be able to go somewhere else there. It's much more safer. There's a lot of things you can do if you have an NBC suit. And that stands for nuclear, biological, and chemical. Now you can get these on eBay or you get them on Amazon, anywhere from 80 to 100 bucks for a good one. And you want to do some reading up on it. And at the very least, if you can't afford that, go down to your local hardware store and just get some of those $8 ones. They got some local $8 ones, and you know, hope for the best. But if you really want to be positively secure with that, I would put that as my #1 thing on the list. NBC suits. Because if you got a NBC suit and you don't even have a gun, and they got somebody else does, at least you can put on your suit and go get their gun. All right? And that's what I'm going to put on for my #2 spot on this. And I ain't really doing this in no order. I'm just kind of slinging from the hip. Guns plus ammo. Lots of ammo. All right? And they say, well, what kind of gun do I get? Well, you can get whatever kind of gun you want. For me, if I was you, I would get like a 12 gauge or a 20 gauge or a rifle that the bullets are easy to find. Now, if you go down to your local gun shop or Walmart, you're going to find it very difficult to find 22 shells, even though we know they're out there. People have lots of them. But if you want them now and you want them to be able to afford them and easily to come by, go get the 12 gauge, especially you women or teenagers. It's a lot less kick on the gun. It's very common. If shit hits the fan and the world comes to an end and you have to go like in Walking Dead house to house looking for supplies, you are more likely to find a 12 gauge shell or a 20 gauge shell than anything else. And they do just as much damage, people. Same thing with a 22. You shoot somebody with 22 in their stomach or in their rib cage, that 22 will ricochet around and pierce all their organs. And there's no kick. Perfect for women or kids. So, you know, guns and ammo. And the thing with the guns and ammo is that if you have no water and no food or no NBC suits or nothing at all, but yet you have a gun and guns and ammo, people are going to be willing to negotiate with you. They're going to be willing to come off of their suits. They're going to be willing to come off of their food and water if they ain't got a gun. Believe me, if I got NBC suits and I got a crap ton of food and water and medical supplies, but I don't have a gun, and somebody comes in here and sticks a gun in my face in front of my kids, and they say, I want your stuff, the deal is over. They can have it. I want to live. I want to protect my children. Now they're going to get all my stuff because I don't have a gun. All right? It's the same thing the other way around. If you have a gun and ammo, you can negotiate with people. And remember, post shit hit the fan, that there aren't going to be any rules and laws. There isn't going to be any humanity at all. It's going to be a rat race. It's going to be survival of the fittest. It's going to be just like The Walking Dead, except for people aren't going to come back to life. When you're dead, you're dead. That's it. It's over. You don't get to walk around like a zombie. But even though there will be people walking around like a zombie, oh, FEMA, FEMA, oh, Mr. Uncle Sam, help me, help me. All right? So you want to get them. All right? That's on the top of your bags. And another thing you want to have, and like I said, this is no particular order. Bow and arrow. Doesn't even have to be anything fancy. It could just be one of those $40 Walmart ones. As long as the thing shoots. The reason for this is guns will give off your location. If you're at 5 miles within a gunshot, and you shoot your gun off, whether it be a kill an animal or kill somebody, and the other side wants to know where you're at, they're going to know where you're at. I don't know what just happened there. I don't know if this thing's still working here. Hello? Okay, there it goes. Wow, that's weird. That's another thing I'll tell you people about. My computer's been totally messed up since I can't get through it. I can't navigate. Nothing. It is such a pain. I got to clear my history out every 20 minutes. I can't do nothing on my computer since all this started. Other people are reporting the same thing. I'm just a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy crazy kook, right? All right, so we got the bow and arrows. We're on that. They won't give away your location. You can kill animals and other people and not make any noise. All right, and you get your bullets back if you can find them. And take the bow, get a bale of hay, piece of cardboard, throw it out there in your yard. Practice. It doesn't take long to figure out how to use one. And you can get good with it pretty quick. And, you know, it's a good thing to have. It's a must-have thing. And I'm not putting these in any order. I know some people will say all this other stuff that, oh, I think this should be moved up in the #1 spot, and I think that should be dropped down in the #7 spot. Save it. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this. I'm only here to help people that ask for it. And this is what I've done and what I would suggest. And the other thing is you want a ham radio. Now you'll have to look up exactly what ham radio is the best, and all these people, I'm not even going to tell you what kind, because so many people have their own personal opinions, and they are dedicated. I mean, they are dedicated to telling you you need this certain kind or that certain kind. You know what? You look it up, ask some people that might know about it. And now the ham radio is something that, you know, no matter what happens, if we lose power and everything, they'll still be able to use them. As long as it's not an EMP and the EMP blast doesn't take it out. EMP blast would take out all the electronics. Unless you even have a vehicle that was made pre-dated to when they put the computers and brains in the cars, your car won't even start. So remember that. It'll knock out all the electricity. And don't think that they're going to get the power out in a couple days or a couple weeks. People, it would take them 10 years to restore power to this country. We don't have 10 years. We don't have 10 days if they lose power. We see what happens when food stamps don't work, bank cards don't work, credit cards don't work, people can't get into their ATM machines, people's food stamps aren't going through, landlords aren't getting paid for their rent, you know, the stores are empty, nothing's working, you know what I mean? Forget about it. Alright, so we get a ham radio. You can get them fairly cheap, too. Alright? Don't go talking on them without a license. You'll get arrested and thrown in federal prison. So you're just to listen until shit hits the fan. Once shit hits the fan, you can talk on them on your own. Because like I said, there won't be no rules, no laws. This is going to be everybody for themselves. Alright? Now, another thing is, you got to figure out how you're going to stay warm and how you're going to eat. Just think of life without a hot shower or a hot bath. I mean, you got to figure this stuff out, people. You got to start doing some research on your own. And instead of playing Candy Crush or, you know, Bubble Blast or Mafia Wars or Farmville or some crap like that, why don't you take that hour and research this stuff yourself? Because that's all I did as a research it myself. Nobody told me nothing. All right. Another thing you want to make sure that you have, you know, is can't see my own writing. My own writing's awful. You know, is your personal hygiene stuff. Now imagine that the stores are looted. They're not open no more, of course. And all those wonderful things that we take for granted are gone. I don't know if this is right spelling, but I think there's an I in there. Who cares? Alright. Doesn't matter, you get the point. But you trolls, make sure you point out that I spelled that wrong. Alright, so your personal hygiene stuff. And this could be anything. Soap, water, toothbrushes, shampoo, conditioner. If you wear glasses or contacts, you're going to need lots of contact solution and glasses. If you wear dentures, you're going to need a shit ton full of you know, Fixodent, things like that. The things that you really need that you can't imagine being without. And that would be, you know, lots of soap, lots of things of toothpaste, lots of things of toothbrushes, Lots of things, a shampoo and conditioner. All right, and these are things that you need. All right, you better make sure you have them. Which brings me to my next one: is meds. Make sure you got lots of meds. All right, amoxicillin, penicillin, diabetes, insulin, heart medicine, all that medicine that's keeping a lot of people alive. Imagine if the pharmacies ain't open. How are you going to get that medicine? Especially if you don't dare go through all the chaos to get to a CVS or something somewhere. It's already been looted. All right? So it's best to stock up on these things now. And I'm not just talking about meds. I'm talking about first aid kit. If you're allergic to bees, you want to have that stuff around. Anything like that. EpiPens, insulins, needles, antibiotics, Band-Aids, peroxide, all that good stuff that you can think of that has to do with that section of the store, what you may need, or even if it's just plain old aspirin and pain reliever, Motrin, things like that, you're going to want to stock up on that. All right? So we'll go on to the next thing, which is, and like I said, there's no particular order, food. All right? You're going to have to be able to feed your family. And you're not going to be able to get to the store to get no food. Maybe you live in the city, so there's not any deer running around in the backyards every night like up here, or turkeys or whatever. All right, so what are you going to do for food? So you got to start thinking about some of the things that you can stock up on that are high in protein, low in sodium. The reason it's low in sodium is because sodium will make you more thirsty, which will make you drink more water. So try to avoid those things that are high in protein, that are going to last forever, things that are lightweight, easy to carry, easy to prepare, and things like that. That brings us to the water part. All right, food and water. Now, I'm definitely going to circle these things right here because they're more important. Water, Golden Enamel, and NBC foods. Now, if I were going to do this in any order, I'd probably put them up there because we can survive, you know, a long time without food. People fast all the time. People have been stranded in places for a long time without any food, and they live. I'm talking over a month. But water, you cannot do that with. You got about 3 days if you ain't got no water, and then you're dead. So what they recommend is a gallon of water per person per day. So if you got a family of 4 and you want to survive 1 day, you need to have 4 gallons of water. Now, if you have a family of 4 and you want to survive 7 days, you need 28 gallons of water. All right? Let's say you have a family of 4 and you want to survive 28 days. You need 112 gallons of water. And the food and water that you're stocking up on should last a lot further than that. You want to have a minimal 3 to 6 months supply of food and water. Minimal. Now I suggest getting some of these great big giant 275 or 330 gallon water tanks. You know, you see with the aluminum cage around it. They're a great big square box and they're made out of plastic. You can get one of them. You can find them anywhere. They're cheap. A lot of places give them to you. Gas companies, natural gas companies, oil companies, they have them laying around in their stockyard. You can get your hands on one of them, great. Because you can collect water with that. You can run it right down your gutter right into there and keep that thing full. As long as the water and the rain is not contaminated with biological, chemical, or nuclear chemicals. As long as the water supply is not contaminated, you will be able to get water for that. But what if it is? And you can't use any of that water. Remember, the pumps down at the local municipal water plant aren't working. The toilets aren't working. That's another thing you got to think about. Where you're going to go to the bathroom. All right? You ain't got no water. And if the water is there, and you can go to a water supply source, whether it be a stream, river, creek, or whatever, and then you can purify that water. That's if it hasn't been contaminated. All right? If terrorists attack us, most likely they're going to attack our water supply anyhow. That would be devastating, right? So food and water, plenty of it, enough to last 3 to 6 months minimum. And your NBC suit, so you can go out and about during a nuclear fallout, chemical, biological, and you can go walk around. All right, nobody's gonna be able to walk around. If you don't have that suit, you ain't gonna walk around. You're gonna be stuck in your house. You're gonna be waiting for DHS and FEMA to come pick you up. They'll come pick you up. They'll rush you. And the people that don't have this, and the people that don't pay attention to me, and the people that don't believe any of this is ever going to happen, they'll get caught with their pants down. I'm telling you, they'll be rushing. They'll be knocking each other over to get on that bus and get on that train to get out of there. They'll be throwing their kids to the front of the line. Take my child! Oh, take my daughter! You know, save them, Mr. Uncle Sam. Take them to the FEMA camps. Just remember, when you get to the FEMA camps, you don't know what's going to happen. You could be going into slaughter, just like Hitler did. And it's how funny the United States ordered 30,000 guillotines when they ordered all this ammo. 30,000 guillotines. Look it up. That's one per county. All right? So, you tell me. Or they say, hey, you can get in the FEMA camp. We got free housing. We got free medical. We got food and water. We'll take great care of you. But first, you got to have that chip in your hand. All right? We don't know exactly the capability of that chip. We do know they have them. They mass produced them in a plant down in Georgia a few years ago. They have well over 1 million of them stockpiled, ready to go in. They put them in last year. They put them in some kids down in Texas schools. Put them in their book bags as a little test. And then there are also people that have volunteered to put them on them. On that contains all your banking information. It contains all your medical information, everything you want to know about you. Well, who knows the capability of that? Maybe they could hit some short wave frequency from the satellite and put you right to sleep. They could do that now. They could do that now with nanobots. You look it up, nanobots. You can disperse them through the airplanes into the air. We breathe them in. They lodge inside of our lungs and the inside of us. And it's the same thing. It's an RFID chip lodged inside of us, and we don't even know it. Some people have said that they already did it, and that 90% of the population of the world already has it in them. Just don't know. We just don't know what they're capable of. I mean, when the former Secretary of Defense comes out and says, hey, if people knew exactly what the kind of technology the United States government has, it would even blow the mind of even the most extreme conspiracy kooks. All right? That's not my words. The former Secretary of Defense. I think he knows what he's talking about. All right. So let's see if we can slip anything else on here. You know, you're going to have some kind of power. All right. So you got to do something about your power. And I'm not going to write down everything on this one. We're just going to go over it. You're going to have to be able to power things. All right. Most importantly, it's your hot water heater. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how I'd live without hot water. I definitely don't even want to think about taking some freezing cold shower in the middle of December, January, up here in the northern hemisphere. So you got to have something to, you know, power things. Your hot water heater, mainly, to take a hot water heater, or anything medical equipment that's keeping you alive. Anything that is really important to you, you need electric power. You're going to have to power it somehow. So you could have a generator. Power inverter. All right. You can have 12-volt battery. And make sure you buy the instructions on how to hook all this up, because I don't even know how to do it, to be honest with you. But there is a way. You can take the two 12-volt. You want to get two of them. Two 12-volt batteries and your power inverter, and you can run a generator, and then you can hop into your, you know, fuse box downstairs and jump into it. You can run just certain things off there, like a microwave and a radio and your hot water heater and your medical equipment. You know, the most important things that you'll need, because you're going to have to get used to not having those luxuries that we have today. All right, so you got to have a way to power things. And what I say, you know, is get the two 12-volt batteries, generator, power inverter, you know, things like that. Don't let me forget. I'm going to write this down before I forget. I want to tell you guys about the Faraday cage. Otherwise, I'll forget. So I'm just going to write this down here so I can forget later on. All right. So you got all that stuff, and you're gonna have to think about. I live in the northern hemisphere. I'm up here on the Pennsylvania-New York border. It's cold today. It's like 24 degrees this morning. All right, so imagine all this happened today. Hypothetically, all this happened today, and I didn't have no heat. All right, and it's going to get cold in here eventually. You can't see it in here, but I have candles strategically placed throughout my apartment that if I light them all up, I don't care if it's 24 below out. If I light all these candles out, the candles will generate enough. You know, these decorative ones you get at Walmart, they're cheap. The candles are cheap. Even tea candles. You know, you can put them, they're not going to start a fire, but they're small, and you can put them here and there and everywhere. They give off heat, so you'll be able to stay warm, and you can even block rooms off with blankets and plastic or whatever to stay warm. You can plastic your windows to reduce the amount of cold that you're being exposed to in your house. That's if you decide to stay, and if it's okay to stay and safe to stay. You know, candles, lots of batteries. You can never get enough of them. Lots of things to start fires with, and not just lighters, you know, but, you know, waterproof matches, strikers, flint, all this stuff. It's stuff you can get, all the stuff you can get at Walmart. It's like super cheap. All right, stock up on it, especially the ammo. I mean, we got lots of ammo. I mean, 12 gauge stuff. Nothing else outside of that I'm going to comment on. But my wife has drawers full of this 12 gauge, and she's got it split down the middle of the shells. You got some of the birdshot, and then you got some slugs. The slugs, of course, would be for large game and humans, and the buckshot would be for small game. You know, because you don't know how to hunt, you better figure it out really quick if you're going to feed your kids and keep them around. All right, so we went over everything here, how to get power, and on here too. Let's see what else. You know, some of these other things, more of the Tyvek, the goggles, the water filters. Now, you got to have a way, just in case the water is nasty or you can't get any water that's not contaminated. So you're going to have some kind of water purification, whether it be a system or, you know, a system. Or you could have life straws. This is what I've ordered. Now you can look these up. Look up life straws. Because life straws are just basically, it looks like a little hand pump, you know, to a kid's football when you buy it, or basketball. Little hand pump. It looks like one of them. But it's actually a straw that actually filters all those poisonous carcinogenics or whatever they call them, or chemicals. I'm not even sure what they call them. I'm not an expert at that. But that will handle 1,000 gallons of water. One straw. And that's what it's recommended to. So it may even keep you safe at 1,500 or 2,000. I don't know. I haven't used it yet. I still have both of mine in the wrapper. So I got 2,000 gallons worth of water that I can filter through them. Now with them, I can take that straw, suck water out of a toilet, suck water out of a mud puddle, suck water out of a contaminated river or stream, and still get better water than I getting out of my faucet from the city. All right. So you got it, and they got water for purification tablets that they got out there, and they have systems that you can buy. They're small, compact, cheap. You know, they come with the sandstone charcoal thing there. I'm not sure what it is, but you can buy them, or you can buy, you know, the ones that they buy out there, and or you can buy the life straws. The reason I bought the life straws is because I can put that in my bug out bag. It's lightweight, it doesn't take up a lot of room, and get a lot of usage out of it. So I can stick that in my bag, take it wherever I go, and you just think about some of the things that you think that you would need. Basically, you know, tent, sleeping bags. You want sub-zero tents, sleeping bags, you know, heavy clothing, anything. You got emergency blankets, you got ponchos. You're going to need stay dry in the weather if you do take to the woods, or you do take out into the mountains or whatever to escape everything. You're going to want to stay warm, and you're going to want to stay dry. So you got to take warm clothes and long underwear and thermal underwear, Under Armour, things like that. And you're going to want to take you know, a tent, good sleeping bag, so you can survive out there until whenever, in all conditions. You got to remember, we tried to do this bug out challenge over the winter, and we were able to find a tent that was a sub-zero tent, and sleeping bags that were sub-zero sleeping bags. But we live way up here in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains. Just you guys down in the southern states have less to worry about. And I wanted to point out too, I forgot, on this generator stuff, you know, people are going to look for generators themselves. So you don't want to draw a lot of attention to yourself that you got all this stuff. You might want to go to the store and buy a shopping cart full of stuff, go back the next day. Don't go in there and buy 10 carts of stuff, because you can stick out like a sore thumb, and somebody's going to recognize you that knows you, and they're going to see you with all this prep and stuff. Then when shit hits the fan, first thing you're going to remember is, oh, I remember Mike was down here at Walmart and he had like 7 carts full of this stuff. I'm going to his house. You don't want people coming to your house. So when you get the generator, or if you get one of these Generacs, they're really quiet and they're awesome. They run off solar power and all this. Some of them do. You know what? That's the last thing. I got people right here on my street that have great big giant nice Generac generators sitting outside their house in case of a power failure. But you know what? They're there for the whole world to see. So what good is it going to do? Because if it's in the middle of January and shit hits the fan and I need a warm place to stay, and I know Joe Schmo across the street's got one of those Generacs and his house is lit up like the 4th of July, I'm going over there. So is everybody else. All right? So don't advertise anything like I just did. All right? But I don't care. They ain't going to be able to find me anyway. But listen, so you don't advertise all this stuff. You don't put the generator out there. You know, 15 extension cords con it, a great big old 4,000 generator. Have your house lit up like a Christmas tree. As a matter of fact, you'll want to close off all your windows except for peek holes. You'll want to blacken your house. You don't want people to be able to see that there's light inside your house. You don't want to be able to hear stuff going, generators running inside your house, because they're going to stop. But they don't hear it, they're going to keep going until they hear a house that does have a generator running, lights are on. People are going to likely go in there. They're going to want food, they're going to want water, and you know, just remember, shit hits the fan for a reason, and it's every dog for himself. So, we covered all that. NBC suits, guns and ammo, and water should be in the top 3 there. And then, of course, the bow and arrows and hammer arrows, personal hygiene things, medical supplies, and food. The reason I don't put food of great importance with me, what I've got for our food is I got a crap load of ramen noodles, because they're compact, they're high in sodium, which is the bad thing, but I also have a lot of water stash. And I have a way of getting more water, so it doesn't worry someone. There's peanut butter. I've got tons of peanut butter. Beef jerky. It's lightweight, easily compactable. It's very expensive though. But you could eat a piece of beef jerky once in the morning and once at night. Same thing with peanut butter. You could eat a tablespoon of peanut butter and for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and be able to live off of it a long time. It will go a long way. So will these ramen noodles. You could take ramen noodles, a package of them, make them up, and you and your wife split them for morning, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it will last forever. But they're just high in sodium, so they'll make you thirsty, and you drink more, and you go through more water. It's the same thing with anything else that's salty or high in sodium. It's going to make you drink everything. Now, a Faraday cage. And the reason I wrote this down, because none of this is going to be useful if there's an EMP blast or a nuclear blast that causes an EMP blast or anything like that. Because what happens is that blast, that wave, will knock out all the electronics that are above ground. Now, you could bury your stuff in the ground and it won't bother. But if you're above ground, you don't have a basement or something, look it up on YouTube. There's a couple videos. Look them all over, because there's one that shows you the actual tests that they performed on these Faraday cages. Because you can go down and you get a stainless steel aluminum garbage can, you know, those rattly metal garbage cans that we've used forever, in the lid. Well, supposedly if you can put a radio inside that can, close the lid and you can't hear the radio no more, you know it's working. But that's not true. All right, we've had somebody research that, and it's come back to not be totally true. So, but what you can do is you can tape the lid shut, and it's just as effective, if not more, with regular duct tape compared to aluminum duct tape. They actually make aluminum duct tape. Uh, that's another one. It's a little more expensive, but regular duct tape will work. And then also you'll want to take, once you get the garbage can, is you take a big piece of cardboard, you set the garbage can down on top of the on top of the cardboard, and then you draw a circle around that can. And then you take some scissors and you cut that circle out. Then you put that cut out circle of that cardboard and you put it down into the bottom of the can. And it'll fit perfectly because it's the same size. If it might be a little too big, but that's what we want. Then you take some more cardboard, then you cut like 8, 10-inch, 12-inch strips all the way down the length of the verticalness of the can. And you just kind of put the first one in, put the other one, you overlap it about halfway, duct tape it, put the next one over halfway, duct tape it, and you continue all the way around the can. Then you'll take the lid, you'll do the same thing as you did with the bottom. You put the lid over the cardboard, draw a circle around it, cut it out, and put it inside the lid. Now the whole interior of that can is protected by cardboard and duct tape. And then you put all your important stuff that you want to survive an EMP blast down in there. And that'd be a weather radio, a regular radio, your power inverter, you know, anything like that that you want to put in there that's electrical. Anything does with medical. If you want to do a backup for your hard drive, you can do a backup for your hard drive. You can put that in there. Anything electronic, you know, DVD players, you know, electric guitar amp. It's all going to be wiped out. It'll be totally useless once EMP hits. So you put all your electrical equipment in there that you want. If you think that tomorrow's the day that shit's going to hit the fan, there's going to be an EMP attack, and you're going to lose everything that's electrical, including your car. You're going to be out all that stuff. You're not going to be able to get to the store and get it. So what we'll do is we'll go buy backups of everything. We'll get a backup of our hard drive. We'll get an extra ham radio and extra two-way radios, medical stuff, power inverters, and anything like that. And we'll put that in that Faraday can. Now, even if you're above ground, you should be alright. If you put it in the basement, you're definitely going to be alright. In the can, in the Faraday can, because I believe that EMP bolts could even get down, as long as it's exposed. That's why we do that with the can. We seal it tight, and you know, the aluminum, the metal, it reflects that pulse, so it makes it go around it, it protects it. But there's still that chance that if you do the research on the videos about the Faraday cages, you're going to find out that when they measured it, there was at certain decibels that it was still reading. But once they did it this way and they taped that can lid shut, that dropped significantly to a very relaxing, safe place. So that's that, and that's that. And that's really all I got for today. I know it's long. Sorry it's long. And go ahead. Point out everything I said wrong. And do your little troll remarks. I don't care. This is for the people that don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. I'll admit it. That'll save you the trouble of being a troll. I don't know nothing. So take it for what it is. Take it for what it's worth. This is what I would do. This is what I would have. And these are the things that I find most important. And I hope this information was useful to you. And if you don't like what I said, or you don't believe me, you know, look it up yourself. That's what I did. Nobody told me this stuff. I just did the research myself. This is what I come to the conclusion of. And that's it. You know, good luck. Because it is going to happen. I really firmly, truly believe that. If it wasn't, why would I take the necessary steps and do all this stuff if I didn't think it was going to happen? And don't say, well, I'm a crazy tinfoil hat, whacked out conspiracy kook whack job. Because I don't have to have much of a brain and half an eyesight, be able to look outside my window and find out what's going on in the world around me. I know what's going on around in the world and behind me. It's when I look out my window. We have been taken over by a Muslim. He's bringing more of them in. He's got all these positions in the government that he's appointed his Muslim buddies to. He sent over 20 fighter jets and 200 Abraham tanks and $500 million or $500 billion to the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. He was releasing them left and right. The same ones that hate us and attacked us. He's releasing them in Guantanamo Bay. And then he's trading 5 of them for one of our traitors that traded on us and went and sided with them. So he gives them 5 of them, our prisoners, for one that left us and is a traitor and went with them. So really, that wasn't even, what kind of deal is that? Come on, people. All right, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm trying to wake you up. I'm not trying to scare you. Really, I'm not. I want you to be a little bit scared. I want you to take action. I want you to protect your family. I want you to stand a chance on surviving. That's it. I mean, I'm not scared. I'm not living in fear. I'm not like, oh, some kind of crazy, whacked out, tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist kook whack job. I'm not that. I live my life just the same. But then again, I accepted my Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, so I'm not afraid to die. All right, and if you're that scared and you're afraid of dying, then maybe you ought to try somebody else's way. All right, maybe surrender to Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior, and invite Him into your heart and acknowledge Him as God's only begotten Son and why He came here. And anyone knocks, He will answer. And remember, the road to heaven is a narrow one. It doesn't say that it's a great big one and everybody gets in like they think, just because they say, well, I believe and that's good enough. You better open the book a little more. All right? So get right with God and prepare yourselves. When nothing happens, you were prepared, you know? I hope nothing happens. I pray every day nothing happens. All right? But the reality of it is, it doesn't look good. No matter how this is going to end, whether it be a gun grab, a revolution, World War III has already started. So, our foreign troops, UN troops, you know, this is not going to end well. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to fix itself. It's not like in 6 months or a year from now we're going to hear about how Russia pulled back on its troops, and we pulled out of the Middle East, and you know, China went back to China, and North Korea didn't do anything, and you know, Iran went back to Iran, and Cuba went back to Cuba, and everybody's getting along again, and it all just went away. It's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. You need to prepare yourselves for any possible scenario, and doing this is going to help you stand a chance to survive. And the people that aren't willing to stand up and fight, I got a few things I want to say to you really quick before I end this video. The people that aren't willing to stand up and fight because they're afraid they're going to die, I got some real bad news for you. Are you sitting down? We're all going to die sometime. Somehow. It's just a matter of how you want to die. With courage, dignity, and pride, or do you want to be like the Iraqi people and lay down your weapons and be a coward and have your country taken over by a bunch of evil, sick tyrants? And then I want you to think about something else. After all this does happen, and you are caught off guard, and your little baby girl and your little baby boy, your young boy, pull on your shirt leg and say, Daddy, Daddy, why didn't you do anything? What's your answer going to be? Maybe your son or your daughter won't even have to say anything. Maybe they'll just give you that look of hopelessness. And you see the fear in their eyes. I wouldn't want to experience that as a father. This is their future. This is their country. And this is their freedom. They're not going to have it. This is the last generation, people. We are the last generation that stands a chance. They've done desensitized us. They've done brainwashed the masses. And people, the sheeple, are being led to slaughter. And just like the Bible says, and just like I'm saying to you now, we need to wake up and save as many as we can while we are here. We don't have much time. That's just my personal opinion. And I'm not saying it could happen tomorrow. I'm not saying it could happen 2 weeks. I wish I had $1 million because I'd be taking $20 bets all day. This says this election is not going to take place again. This will happen by the time that election rolls around. That man ain't coming out of office. He's not coming out of that office. We're being taken over. We have the enemy at the highest level of our government and our military. And now we have the enemy scattered, not throughout just this country, but throughout the world. I hope this was the best hour and a half you ever spent. Because if you don't listen to me, there may be a day that you are sitting there scared, hungry, thirsty, wondering what's going to happen to you. And you're going to think about back on October 19th, Monday, 2015, when this crazy conspiracy hat, tinfoil hat wearing fool came on YouTube and Facebook and warned everybody that this was going to happen. So take it for what it is. And remember what I said. What will you tell your kids? What about your children? This ain't about you. This ain't about who's right or wrong or who can produce videos or pictures. This ain't about, none of that, people. We got to be ready. Don't let them take your guns. Whatever you do, don't let them take your guns. If they disarm us, we'll never get this chance back again. Well, my opinion is we're already past the point of no return. But we are still hanging on that last link. Don't let them take that last link away. We got to start taking back that power from we the government and putting it back into we the people. Alright? I hope this video helped you. And if it helped just one person, it was worth my time today. That's it.